This is a very interesting question. What do I need to do so I wouldn't dwell in disappointment when my expectation is not being met, when the reality of what happened is below my expectation? What do I need to do so I wouldn't dwell in disappointment? The first thing, what I believe that we need to understand in order to be able to change so we won't dwell in this kind of negative emotions, which in this case is disappointment, is to understand that, first of all, it's okay to feel disappointed. As a human being, it's human to feel disappointed when things that happen, when the reality is below what we expected it to be. Okay? It is okay. But that's why I really like the question, is because you're asking how not to dwell in disappointment. It's not how so I will never feel disappointed, because as human being, like I said, every emotion has its own purpose, and every emotion, even negative emotions, can have positive impact if we know how to use it. So it is normal when things are not going the way you wanted. It's normal to feel sad. It's normal to feel angry or disappointed, as an initial reaction. But of course, we do not want to continuously feel this disappointment and then to be dwelling in this disappointment, right? So in order for us not to dwell, so we experience, maybe we feel disappointed, but then it won't take us too long to shift and start to have a different emotion, and a different and positive emotion, is to understand what is it or how actually we feel anything. Any kind of emotion, whether the positive emotions or the negative emotions. Understand that we feel something because we think about the situation that we're in a particular way. And we think about a situation in a particular way because we have a belief system that would lead us. The thinking can be how we think about the situation, thinking about who we are in regards to the situation. Let's say, for example, the event is we are going through rejection. We're going through failure, for example. And what we feel about going through failure is going to be affected by, it's going to be determined, actually, if we choose to use a perspective that says, oh, this means that I'm not good enough, then that kind of perspective would lead us to not trusting ourselves. And if we continue to choose to use this perspective, it could even lead us to have a self-loathing kind of character. So, of course, we don't want that. But I'm just saying that understand that the reason that we dwell into a particular emotion, and which in this case is disappointment, is because we choose to continuously use a particular perspective that would lead us to feel disappointed. But again, it also means because we choose to use a particular perspective, it means you can also choose to use a different perspective. Now, the next question is, what kind of perspective that would lead me to feel a more positive emotion? Or what kind of perspective that would be more beneficial for me to overcome the situation, to overcome the reality that what happened is below my expectation? And by the way, in life, like it or not, ready or not, it is inevitable for us to experience this kind of events, this kind of circumstances from time to time. Because of course, not everything in our life, as you know, will always be as as good as we expected it to be. That's called life. So ready or not, like it or not, it's going to happen. So might as well be ready, get prepared, get better in overcoming or facing this kind of situations, right? So because disappointment is an emotion, and we cannot have any kind of emotional reaction without us choosing a particular perspective first. So that means, yes, maybe as an initial reaction, we feel disappointed, but in order for us to continuously feel disappointed, it means we need to continuously choose a perspective that would lead us to feel disappointed. So in order not to feel that way continuously, in order not to dwell in disappointments, ask yourself actually, so to get more practical, ask yourself, what kind of other perspectives that would be more beneficial for me in facing the situation, in facing this reality right now? For example, okay, I'm having an event, I'm creating an event, and I'm expecting to have 200 people to show up in the event. But as it turns out, only 100 that showed up, or maybe only 10 people showed up. This is way below my expectation. As an initial reaction, again, it's okay, it's normal, it's human to feel disappointed, to feel sad and all that. But, okay, now that we are aware, okay, I feel disappointed, it's not about denying our feeling, it's not about lying to ourselves, it's actually acknowledging, yes, I feel disappointed, but I do not want to continuously feel like this. I do not want to dwell in this kind of feeling. So, what kind of perspective that would be more beneficial for me to overcome this situation? For example, if I feel very strongly, I feel very disappointed, that means it is very important for me to be able to deliver what I want to deliver to a lot of people. That's why I set a target of 200 people, let's say. Because I know what I want to share is very important, that it can be very useful, for example. So that disappointment, it gives you an insight about what's important for you. And that's actually beneficial. Now that I realize that it is actually something very important for me, okay, it means what can I do to get better at this? Because that strong emotion gives you a message about what's important for you. I remember around 15 or 16 years ago, I went for an interview for a position, and there were 20 candidates that were lined up in the interviewees, right? And we were waiting outside the interview room, and I was the 20th people. I was the last person who was being interviewed. So I was waiting from the first one to the second one, all the way, and then there's a lunch break. So I was the last one. But during the lunch break, one of the interviewers, because the interview was, each person was interviewed by like a panel of 5 interviewers. One of the interviewers saw me and asked me, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Well, to be honest, yeah." And he said, "Good, because now you know it means it's important for you." I never forgot that. Because at that time, maybe like my fear that led me to this feeling of nervous was, let's say, like here. Even though I was so excited, I was very excited as well. But my nervousness was way bigger than my excitement at that time, right? But when I realized that after what he said to me, then I was still nervous, but the excitement was like suddenly it grows bigger. So it's to feel nervous is normal, because it shows you that it is important for you. So to feel disappointed, if you feel very disappointed, it means this is very important for you. Because if it's not that important for you, you won't feel that disappointment, that strongly. So that's a good perspective to use, just as an example. And by the way, you can choose to use more than one perspective, more than one beneficial perspectives. Yes, it takes practice because you need to catch yourself when you start to feel this negative emotion, which in this case, let's say disappointment. You need to catch yourself when you're feeling this. And then when you realize, when you become aware of what you're feeling, okay, and you realize that you no longer want to dwell in this disappointment, ask yourself that question. What kind of perspective that would be more beneficial for me to face this situation, to overcome this situation? And you can choose and use more than one perspective because there are many beneficial perspectives if we put the time and effort to actually think about it, to explore. Okay, actually, this strong feeling, like I said, it actually helped me, it gives me an insight about what's important for me. Okay, and because I know what's important for me, this failure, actually, I can gain a lot of insights about how I can get better as well. And also, actually, this can be good for me as well because I want to be able to deliver this not just to 200 people. I want to be able to share this message to 1,000 of people or to 1,000,000 of people even. So when I want to get there, it's going to be more challenging, of course, and I might experience other kind of failures. So right now, it's this failure that I'm going through right now. It's actually a practice for me to be able to toughen up. When I want to achieve a bigger result, when I want to achieve a bigger target, it helps me to practice, to have a determination for what I actually want to achieve later on. So there are so many different perspectives that we can use that are more beneficial. That's basically the game. In order for us not to dwell in disappointment, it's about becoming aware, becoming conscious, to choose the perspective that would lead you, that would be more beneficial for you to overcome the situation. That's it. I know it sounds simpler to say, that's it. But to be honest, that is it. It takes practice, yes. And some people maybe said, well, it's easier said than done. Okay? So what? If it is easier said than done, so what? Does it mean it's not important? I'm sure you have experienced, doing something that even though you know it won't be easy, but because it's so important for you, then you put all the efforts to do it anyway. So, if currently you have a habit of dwelling into disappointment, how important it is for you to no longer be that way. If it is that important for you to change this, then who cares whether it's easier said than done? Do whatever it takes. And if you don't want to do that, that's also fine. But let's not continuously complain why we keep dwelling in disappointment. I hope what I'm sharing here is useful. I hope it is practical. And I do hope that you use it and you do practice it. And do share in the comment section as well about your experiences in overcoming disappointments or overcoming rejections, overcoming any kind of negative emotions. And so we can learn from each other as well. And do like the video as well and subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you in other videos. Ciao. Very quickly, there's a research that reveals a universal pattern of phases that people go through in their journey of discovering and living their life purpose. And you can learn and find out in which phase am I in right now, and what's the next phase, and most importantly, how do I get there? Find your answers in Uncover Your Unique Purpose, a comprehensive and practical guide to discovering your life purpose. It's a research-based book and as well covered with all the exercise you'll need to discover your unique purpose. Get this book now and take a real step to your most unique self-discovery journey. This book is available on Amazon worldwide.